Aaron takes the finals. Oh, it's absolute scenes here in the British Pokemon League. Oh my god! Wait! Bonga, bonga, baby! No! Fisher lands again! Fisher picks up the... Hello everybody and welcome back to the British Pokemon League show. I'm your host Matt__star. I hope you're all having a brilliant Monday. We have got a very exciting show lined up for you guys. It is the first show after pre-season free agency trades. So it's all new, it's all change, and we are closing ever closer in on that business end of the season. We are just 5 weeks away from playoffs. Well, the end of the season and playoffs getting ready to go, and yeah, we really are on that sort of upward trajectory now, getting towards that, and it's I'm very excited. I hope all you guys are very excited for that as well. Anything could happen at this point. One thing that is for certain, though, if we take a quick look at this league table, is that Aaron's Inglorious Surfers are absolutely flying at the top. They are currently 5-0 going into week number 6. Can anyone stop Aaron? That is the question that is on everybody's minds. Could it happen this week? We will certainly find out. Up there in second place still is South Croydon Saurs, making a very, very solid start of life in Season 3. You know, our first and second teams from Season 2. First and second in Season 3. You know, just continuing that sort of bit of form that they had in Season 2 and bringing it straight into Season 3. So we'd love to see. But in third and fourth place, can I just say, both Silver and Tamim Space City PC making a brilliant start of life in the British Pokemon League. Both of our newcomers, third and fourth place. You know, Silver losing out to, of course, the Scuba Squirtles the other week as well. It was probably the only sort of dampener on that one. And Meme unfortunately losing out to Aaron as well. You know, the main blemishes on their records, but both going very, very well and looking very, very solid. In 5th and 6th place, we've got the Long Island Gooms and the Dogsy's Shadow Kings. Obviously, both faced each other last week. Dogsy dropping below Silly after Silly took that game 2-1. Silly looking like a completely different animal than he did last season with that Xerneas at the helm with next to Blastoise. So looking very, very solid. In 7th place, it is Neil's Scuba Squirtles, obviously our newcomer, taking over the Miami Heat position that was in the league. Making a brilliant start, taking out the Tyrants in a 2-1 fashion last week. So we'll be hoping to continue that form in this week. And in 8th and 9th place then, Newcastle Thundurus and Wobbuffet Ninjas both getting the wins in those relegation 6-pointers last week. Both jumping up a few positions. The Ninjas not quite out of the relegation zone just yet, but the Newcastle Thundurus, you know, just occupying that final playoff spot as it is up to now. Could be all changed today, depending on how the matches go for this week. And rounding out the bottom 3, it is the Swindon Rookidees, Knights of Sidonia, and the California Bastiodons. See the Rookidees and Bastiodons losing out in those 6-pointers. Those were obviously the opposite end of the spectrum where they want to be. And the Knights of Sidonia losing out to South Croydon Saurs last week. So, you know, Jabba's had quite a tough run of matches the last few weeks. Bless him. You know, has had to face Aaron. Had to place a resurgent Dave, and then had to play second place South Croydon Saurs as well. So, you know, I think he's going to be looking forward to getting this run of games out of the way with, to be honest. He's just playing all the top teams. But, you know, anyone can beat anyone in this league. That is the beauty of the British Pokemon League, so never count anyone out. Well, let's take a look at this week 6 schedule then. So kicking off the show, it is, of course, our Season 2 playoff final rematch between the Inglorious Surfers and South Croydon Saurs. That ought to be a very, very spicy affair. Crizzle aiming to get a little bit of revenge after Aaron obviously pipped him to that Season 2 title just a couple of months ago. Second and third match of the week, it is relegation 6-pointers once again on the menu. The starter, the entree, is that Inglorious Surfers South Croydon Saurs match. And then this is your main meal, is the Wobbuffet Ninjas taking on the Cali Bastiodons. Is 9th place versus 12th place. And Newcastle Thundurus taking on Swindon Rookidees. That is 8th place taking on 10th place. So ought to be two very, very close, hard-fought matches. Every match win counts now at this point, because we're getting so close to playoffs now, and of course there isn't those reverse fixtures to rely on like we've had in the past. It is just a straight shot towards playoffs, so it's going to be very exciting. Our fourth match of the week, it is Dogsy Shadow Kings versus Tyrants. Obviously Dogsy on a little bit of a downward trend, as of right now, but could bounce back in this game against the Tyrants. Obviously Silver losing out last week to the Scuba Squirtles. Speaking of Scuba Squirtles, they play Space City PC this time, so it's second match of the British Mountain League for Niels. And who's facing probably one of the toughest opponents he's going to face in the league. Space City PC going to be quite a formidable opponent, even with those changes. And our final match of the week, it is Jabba's Knights of Sidonia taking on Long Island Gumi. So Jabba with yet another difficult fixture to contend with, taking on 5th place, and Silly's team looking mighty scary. So that could be quite a difficult one for Jabba, but as he's proved, against some of the top teams, that he can pull it out. He can get some, make some good plays, so it could happen for him. So we will certainly see. Anyways, on to our first game of the week then. It is, of course, Inglorious Surfers taking on the South Croydon Saurs. Head-to-head wise, it is 2-1 in Aaron's favour. Obviously, during the last season, Aaron took the first one 2-0, but then in week number 6, Crizzle played him and beat him 2-0. Just reversed that scoreline, and inflicted Aaron's first defeat of the season. So could we see history repeat itself? It's week 6. Aaron is 5-0. Is Crizzle going to be the one to take him down? As you can see, the season record, Aaron is 5-0, as we just mentioned. Crizzle is just one place behind on that 4-1 record. That loss to Dogsy, the only blemish on that season so far. Aaron making a couple of changes, as we mentioned at the end of last week's show. I'll go through them again. He has picked up the Reggie Drago, got the Rita, the Frostmoth, and the Skuntank. I didn't know it was possible to improve upon this team, but somehow he has. Skuntank and Gothorita, Skuntank, Gothorita, and Frostmoth, all very, very solid support mons. Frostmoth does have those 4x weaknesses, but gets a whole host of support moves that make it very, very valuable, including Wide Guard. Of course, Gothorita does get Shadow Tag as well, which, if someone's going to be switching in and out against you, they've got to have those, those moves that are going to bounce them out of play. Otherwise, they're stuck until you deal with that Gothorita. And, it has some pretty good support moves in it. And Skuntank as well, gets access to things like Snarl and a few other very valuable support moves. And, of course, Reggie Drago. We haven't seen too much of it. We saw it in Season 2, a bit of Reggie Drago play. This thing gets a Dragon Energy off with Dragon Fang. It can really hit hard. It can really do the damage, especially against any mons that might have a weak special defense. You've really got to be careful with this thing. You've got to get its health down as quickly as you can, or just make sure you deal with it outright, or it's going to be a problem for you. Other than that, of course, there is the Zacian Crown, which is always going to be problematic. It's always going to be something that Aaron's going to be considering bringing to a game, just how strong it is. It's probably one of, if not the best mon in this format. Of course, it's Mega Aerodactyl there. Gets access to a good few support moves as well. Gets Tailwind, and some very good spread moves as well. Rock Slide and Earthquake make it quite a formidable foe with that high attack stat as well. Marshadow as well, gets that Technician boosted Shadow Sneak, could be useful in this one, just to try and get some damage off. This Crizzle's team is relatively bulky. There's, barring that Pheromosa and the Ferret and Whimsicott, I think there's a lot of bulk there he has to deal with. And of course, Ludicolo and Palippa on Aaron's team as well. I don't know that he will, risk bringing them here, to be honest. I think Aaron's going to probably be thinking that Kyogre's going to come to set up the rain for him anyway, so might try and avoid this one. And I think in that same category, you would think that Rotom Heat is probably going to avoid this one. With that Mega Swampert and Kyogre running around, it makes it a little bit, in a bit of a difficult spot. Hitmontop, we haven't really seen a whole lot of Hitmontop as of yet. So could this be the week where Hitmontop makes its appearance? It could be very useful against something like that Pheromosa that may look to go for a coaching or for a speed swap. you know, or again, you know, anything like, you know, like the Mega Swampert as well, if it's going to get any benefit from the rain. But speaking of that Mega Swampert obviously coming the other way from the Wobbuffet Ninjas over at Crizzle's team, pairs up very, very nicely with that Kyogre. And again, that 4 times weakness is a little bit, you know, scary, something Crizzle's got to watch out for. But I think, you know, Kyogre with Ice Beam really just sort of covers that problem off, to be honest. So, of course, there's a lot of mons that get grass moves that still cause a problem to Mega Swampert, but all the same. Whimsicott. Man, how important has Whimsicott been for Crizzle this season? Not only has been a stout support man, but this thing is getting kills. This thing is relatively high on the kill leaderboard as well. You know, it's running with Energy Ball has been almost like a stroke of genius on Crizzle's side, and has been really putting in the work for him. I think that's arguably one of the best mons on Crizzle's team. And then, of course, Indeedee Mail as well, going to look to set up that terrain, stop any of those priority moves. Not that there's a whole lot of that over on Aaron's side. You know, I think the only things that I think is really the fake out on Ludicolo and Hitmontop, and of course Shadow Sneak on that Marshadow I may look to stop. But other than that, you know, I doubt a Marshadow's going to be trying to Shadow Sneak with the Indeedee Mail kicking around. Of course, has picked up that Pheromosa. The Aurorus Ferret has came over from the Swindon Rookidees. Has also got the Salazzle, as well as the giant elephant that's name escapes me as always. There's always a mon on someone's team every week that I can't remember the name. I was literally just looking at this mon earlier as well. But yeah, Crizzle has put together a very, very solid team coming over from the free agency period, especially that Mega. I think, you know, he needed something that, you know, gelled with that Kyogre. Not that Aggron didn't, you know, Aggron, the rain from Kyogre really sort of benefited the Aggron, you know, weakened one of its weaknesses a little bit. Copperajah is his name, by the way. The name does eventually come back to me. I just my brain just stops working occasionally. Anyway, guys, before I fuck up another name, let's get right into this one. It is the Inglorious Surfers taking on South Croydon Saurs, a rematch of the Season 2 playoff final. Let's get right into this one then. Just say exactly. I should just say elephant and make it a lot easier for me to remember. So Crizzle kicking things off with the Indeedee Mail, and the Whimsicott has the Kyogre in the back there, as well as the Salazzle. And the Pheromosa in there as well, and Aaron leading the line with that Zacian Crown, and Gothorita has Ludicolo Palippa in the bank, and looks like Skuntank as well kicking around there as well. So a pretty hyper offense lead there from Aaron, and that Gothorita as well means that Whimsicott and Indeedee Mail are stuck. They ain't going anywhere unless they've got, you know, a move to take them out of the field. The Zacian Crown, you would think, is probably going to look to go for a substitute here, just to avoid any incoming expanding forces, or potentially a mystical fire on that Indeedee Mail. Protect goes off from the Whimsicott. There is the mystical fire from the Indeedee Mail. Drops the special attack of Zacian, but not really doing a whole lot of damage in there. It goes the substitute, drops the Zacian's health a little bit, and Gothorita sets up that Trick Room then. So not really probably what the Zacian was wanting here, but is going to be able to get a hit off without taking any damage thanks to that substitute, if that Indeedee Mail is to go for a mystical fire again. Looks to be a Scarf Indeedee Mail then potentially. That Indeedee Mail went through to improve those expanding force, so from that Gothorita obviously going to get the benefit from that second terrain. Moonblast is going to do some damage. That substitute, there's the Behemoth Blade, and that takes out the Indeedee Mail, so it's already one advantage to Aaron as in comes the Kyogre name and sets up that lane. So Kyogre's going to look to try and get the damage off here. He's going to benefit from that Trick Room as well. We're going to go before the Zacian here, so looks to go for an Origin Pulse. Trying to get damage off there. He's expanding for some good damage away there. There's the Moonblast. Doesn't quite take out the substitute, but there you go. The Wild Charge is going to take out that Kyogre then. And oh my goodness, it is already 2 down for Criz, and in comes now the Pheromosa. But this is not looking solid at all for Crizzle, as Whimsicott on pretty low health, and that Pheromosa now has all to do against the Zacian behind the substitute. There's the expanding force. It's going to take the Pheromosa down with Sash. This could be all but over. The Human Blade takes out that Pheromosa. This one's over. This game is over. What a starter here from Aaron, just absolutely flying out the gate and getting that 1-0 start. Gothorita getting the killing blow, and Aaron takes the lead in this one, 1-0, so advantage to Aaron in this playoff final rematch, and goes for the same lead again as always. No point trying to change it, as brings out the Wheezing, does Crizzle alongside the Whimsicott. So Whimsicott not going to get access to Prankster, but Whimsicott is going to be pretty fast here. Wheezing with the neutralizing gas, meaning that Zacian doesn't get the attack boost via that Intrepid Saw, but as soon as Wheezing goes down and swaps out, it is going to get that attack buff. Fake out does come out there from the Gothorite. That's why he was protecting before the substitute. Now comes out from the Zacian. There it is then. And Weezing's Will-O-Wisp is going to fail thanks to that substitute going up. So Crizzle not able to stop that Zacian getting the sub up, and that was the biggest problem last time. There's a Behemoth played into the Whimsicott with the Babiri Berry. Oh, it does manage to survive as well. And there's the Taunt onto the Gothorita and Sludge Bomb from the Weezing, trying to maybe fish for those poisons and get a bit of damage away as well. Some useful information there for Aaron. Knows that Whimsicott now isn't Sash, he knows it is the Berry. Gothorita switches now, and in comes the Marshadow. Protect comes out from the Whimsicott. Just going to block that Behemoth Blade from going off. And there is the Sludge Bomb. It is resisted by that Marshadow though, of course. And not really much damage off there. Now Marshadow can go for, you know, a pretty high hitting move here, but of course can't go for, you know, a Technician Boosty Shadow Sneak while that Weezing is still kicking around, so Aaron knows he needs to deal with that. So this one's slowed down quite a bit to that first game at least, you know, we're 10-4, and no one's down as of yet, so a bit more of a confident start here there from Grizz. There's the Force Palm, and gets the Para on the Whimsicott. The Behemoth Blade is going to take out the Whimsicott, and now it is a 4v3. There is the Will-O-Wisp from the Weezing as well. That's going to really harm Marshadow's attack. And now in comes the Pheromosa then. Crizzle in the back of his mind, he knows he's got to deal with that Zacian, and miles behind the substitute. He's really, you know, he's really stuck here. He's not going to be able to get anything away on it. You know, all he's going to do is break the sub, so I've got to do something. Weezing is switching out now. In comes the Kyogre. That means the Zacian gets its Enchantment Sword. Protect comes out from that Pheromosa. He's going to block that Shadow Sneak. The Behemoth Blade will Protect as well, maybe. Predicting that something else was coming into that slot, then I'm not sure. Trying to double down on that Pheromosa. There's the Shadow Sneak, gets some good damage away from Pheromosa. There's the Water Spout that's going to block the substitute, and it does take out Marshall, so Chris is going to, you know, matching it with close combat comes out from the Pheromosa, not enough to the Zacian, and the Behemoth Blade's going to take out Pheromosa, and all of a sudden it is now 2v3, at least getting Amon down, but now in comes the Ludicolo. It's going to really benefit from that rain set by the Kyogre. Although Minutia as a gas has come into play, so maybe that is going to stop Ludicolo from getting it. So a bit of genius there from Crizzle. Can go for the fake out though, that's important, you know. It's good luck to maybe fake out the Kyogre here. And can't go for another substitute, his HP is too low, so he knows he has to go on the attack. Typically that Zacian has run with Wild Charge in the past, and I think a Wild Charge with that attack boost is going to really hit the Kyogre. There's the fake out into the Kyogre set. Chris obviously going for damage. There's the Wild Charge, and then takes it out in one shot, and now it's all up to Weezing. Zacian is going to go down from that Wild Charge recall damage, and the Sludge Bomb into that Ludicolo is going to get the poison as well and get some good damage away. So it's Gothorite and Ludicolo against the world. Well, Weezing against the world essentially, not the other way around. You know, Weezing has the advantage over the Ludicolo here, but Gothorita does have that expanding force, so Weezing is in a very difficult position here. It may not be doable here, you know, with that Gothorita. You know, Gothorita is not going to have the greatest special attack here. There's the Muddy Water, that's some good damage away in the, you know, in the rain. Sludge Bomb is going to take out Ludicolo, but the expanding force is going to get the job done, and Aaron takes this one too. Aaron takes the final. Takes this one 2-0. Started playing the intro again there. Takes this one 2-0, and what a start there from Aaron. Phenomenal stuff from Aaron. I mean, that game one was just just clinical, if nothing else. It was phenomenal to watch that Zacian. Just Crizzle's just having no answer to it behind the substitute. Just couldn't get anything going, and the Aaron T Marshall train just keeps rolling on them. So Aaron now 6-0. To be honest, I think that's all but you know, confirmed him for playoffs, barring some major sort of car crash for Aaron at the end of the season and everyone below him really turning on the form. I think it's very difficult to imagine that Aaron doesn't make it now, but never say never. You know, stranger things happen, but with this team Aaron's got, I would confidently say that he's going to get there. So either way, GG's to both players, and GG's to Aaron obviously getting the win. Crizzle moving now to 4-2, so 2 losses on that record now, but it's going to keep him in the top half of the table regardless, so not going to be too much of a worry. But anyways, on to our second game of the week then, and it is the California Bastiodons against the Wobbuffet Ninjas. Of course, the Ninjas last season were the Bully Boys. Bully Boys getting 2 wins over the Bastiodons in the West Division last season. So Omen not able to overcome myself last season in those 2 matches we played. But incidentally did end up, getting much farther in than I did into playoffs. So, Oma really turned on the star once he got a playoff. So, nothing but respect for Oma. He's a very, very solid player. We've kind of digged on the team that he's built a few times, but he's proven once already that it might only be the one win, but he has proven that given the right tools and if he's set up correctly, he can get the wins, and he can pull it out. And I said he's a very talented player, so do not write him off. But of course, the moment on the Ninjas, myself, got that win last week over the Swindon Rookidees, so it's another relegation 6-pointer between these two. Oma needing that win as much as the Ninjas are. Wow, that music was loud, Jesus. The Ninjas and Bastiodons both really, really needing these victories. Ninjas with a couple of changes then. As you can see, the Mega Aggron, as we mentioned in the last game, has came over from the South Croydon Saurs. And of course, they have picked up the Macro, the Tapu Fini, Raikou, Togetic as well coming into the line. So two very, very good support ones in that Macro as well. Swapping out for that Sableye, two Prankstamons. A Prankstamon for a Prankstamon. That Macro, a very, very strong Prankstamon. Something people were keeping an eye on. We're keeping an eye on pre-season, which is why it was S tier. It is a very, very good Prankstamon. It's a good addition to the team as well, and very, very excited to get some use out of Finny as well. Do not sleep on that Raikou. Through the rest of the team, of course, still have the Lunala, Politoed, Serena, Boltund, Kangaskhan, and that Electros. Kangaskhan has been very, very strong thus far this season. It's such a diverse mon. Only having the one weakness really, really helps that. But having the fake out pressure, and just its move pool, it makes it a very, very phenomenal mon. It's why it's got the most kills. That double edge, is just chef's kiss. And Lunala as well, I feel like it's starting to come into its own a bit. Has proved that it's not only a one-trick pony with that setting up Trick Room and living behind that Shadow Shield. It can get the kills when it needs to. So could look to be a very strong mon here against Oma's very heavy Steel Psychic sort of setup, along with the two Ghost types as well. There's a heavy Ghost type weakness on Oma's side and not a whole lot of resist. So, going to look to try and take advantage of that. A lot of fun things you can do, of course, with Finny and Raikou as well. And I'm really going to look to try and get some usage of Mega Aggron, but this is probably not going to be the game to bring it. But we will certainly see as the season goes on. Over on Oma's side then, only the two changes. Has picked up the Urshifu Rapid Strike, which of course he had last season in Season 2. Made very good use of that Urshifu Rapid Strike. People would constantly predict that the Metagross is coming, and when it didn't, it was typically that Urshifu Rapid Strike, and it really, really put in the work. So it's a very strong pickup for Oma, and helps him deal with a few of those fire weaknesses for sure. And has, of course, picked up his mascot Pokemon, Bastiodon. So that's always nice to see. Not too much sure what to expect out of Bastiodon, but knowing Oma, he has something up his sleeve. So what we have seen a lot of the time from Oma is, some sort of setup with that Aerodactyl sat next to something, and then Comfey will switch in, and Metagross will come in that late game, and Comfey is going to aim to try and sit there and Floral Healing that Mega Metagross, or potentially that Solar Glare as well. But we've seen a little bit of use out of Garchomp as well next to that Chandelure. Garchomp obviously helping with some of those weaknesses for sure, but that 4x Ice weakness has kind of bitten Oma in the backside a few times, so definitely got to be careful out of that. And Chandelure, of course, has more than held its own. This thing is bulky as all hell. You will not find many mons that can just simply OHKO this thing. So do keep an eye out for that as well. But anyways, let's get into this one. It is the Wobbuffet Ninjas taking on the California Bastiodons, and there you see the Ninjas have got the Raikou and the Murkrow and the Finny in the lineup alongside Lunala, Serena, and the Kangaskhan. Meanwhile, Oma has the Bastiodon, Garchomp, Chandelure, Mega Metagross, Blacephalon, and Comfey. And Blacephalon, of course, was on the Season 2 team for the Bully Boys last season for the first half, and Oma chooses to lead with an all-fire line, or Fire Ghost lineup. It is Blacephalon and the Chandelure then. Meanwhile, over on the Ninja side, it is the Lunala and the Tapu Fini. So, both Chandelure and the Blacephalon, you would think are going to be going pretty fast here, so I would expect the Trick Room to maybe try and come out from Lunala, but in the back of the mind, you're going to be thinking, is a Ghost move going to come out from both these mons? As soon as that Shadow Shield's broken, any Ghost or Dark type will get 4 times effective against Lunala, and they're going to hit hard. So definitely going to be something to keep careful of. But top Finny has a pretty wide move pool, so could prove to be useful here. In muddy water, if it's going to land, and going to really work well here against Chandelure and Cephalon. Muddy water, not the most accurate move, of course. Despite the fact it lowers accuracies, it's very inaccurate. It's not going to hit too often. So we will certainly see as Protect comes out from the Cephalon, Protect comes out from the Chandelure. There is the Moongeist Beam from the Lunala, so Lunala going straight in the attack. And there's the Shadow Ball from the Finny, so they're only getting some pretty useful information there on his side. Apart from anything, was maybe expecting the Muddy Water there. Coming out from that thingy, which is why we see the double protect Moongeist Beam does come out into the Chandelure. Chandelure manages to live through that then. There's the Mind Blown from the Cephalon that is going to proc the Flash Fire on the Chandelure, but doesn't quite do enough to the Lunala and the Tapu Fini. Tapu Fini is going to take out the Cephalon, but Shadow Ball from that Chandelure is going to take out the Lunala, so it is a really good trade here. It's 3v3 now, so Oma gets rid of that Lunala, that big threat to his Mega Metagross, and Chandelure somehow hanging on for all of that. So that's, I spoke about its bulk in the team preview screen. It lived a Moongeist Beam from a Lunala. That was max special type Lunala as well. As now Garchomp switches in for Oma, and in comes the Raikou then for the Ninjas. So Raikou making its debut. Raikou, speaking of Shiny's Day, I love Raikou's Shiny. It is phenomenal. Raikou could match up pretty well with this Finny. Protect does come out from the Chandelure. There's the Volt Switch. Volt Switch does get stopped by that Protect. There's the Poison Jam from the Garchomp, but the Finny manages to live through that, and Wiki Berry is procced. The Ice Beam is going to come out, and that takes care of the Garchomp. And Garchomp goes down as now Mega Metagross switches in. So we already know Shadow Ball is on that Tapu Fini, so that Garchomp is going to have to watch out for that. Is going to be something on that Raikou. Protect fails on that Chandelure. The Stomping Tantrum is going to put that Sugar Berry, so Raikou manages to live through that. There's the Shadow Ball from the Raikou, and Shadow Ball is going to potentially come out from the Finny, and it does. It takes out the Mega Metagross, and all of a sudden now it's all up to Chandelure to finish this one off, and this one's going to be over. Only the one down for Oma, and the Ninjas are going to take this one then. Chandelure on 7% HP, obviously not going to be enough Protector is going to stop that, the inevitable happening on that turn, but only going to let it for a turn. Raikou gets the killing blow, and the Ninjas are going to take the advantage then in this one into game number 2. So some good information there from Omen. Knows there's a few Mons on that team, running Ghost types, and switches things up now there and brings in the Comfey and the Chandelure, so it keeps the Chandelure, and the Ninja switching things up as well as Lunala and Raikou. So it knows how much of a threat that this Lunala and Raikou can be as well. Chandelure not going to enjoy taking 2 Ghost type attacks here. So may look to go for the Protect. Potentially Ninjas are going to look to try and take out the Comfey. That Comfey is going to be an annoyance as the support mon if it sticks around. Going to heal up the likes of that Mega Metagross. So no Solid Glow in Oma's lineup, so no weakness policy shenanigans there. There's the Moongeist Beam into the Chandelure, takes down to 7% HP again. There's a Shadow Ball into Chandelure, and Chandelure is gone. It's out of there. And Comfey going for the after use, and not quite working again for that after you. Comfey not quite fast enough to get that one off. So it's a frustrating one, that one, for Oma, losing out the Chandelure on turn 1, but was maybe hoping the Comfey would be fast enough to deal with that. What has Oma got to switch in? He's obviously not going to want to switch in that Mega Metagross, knowing that Moongeist Beam on that Lunala, which looks to be scarfed as well, so that Lunala is a fast Lunala. So that Mega Metagross is not the best switch in here if he's brought it in the back, nor is the likes of the Cephalon, so may look. Garchomp switches in the Bastiodon. It's Bastiodon with the Air Balloon as well, so what has the Ninjas got to answer for this? He knows that Raikou has got the Sugar Berry, so any kind of ground move is going to be sort of halved with that berry. I think the Ninjas are going to go all out attack here, just try and take care of that Bastion. Can pretty much ignore that Comfey, for now. And until it starts becoming a bit of an issue. There's the Moongeist Beam from the Lunala that takes the Bastion down half HP. There's the Shadow Ball from the Raikou, and that doesn't really do all that much. There's a Substitute now comes out from that the Comfort, and the Stealth Rock from the Bastion then, so maybe expecting a switch out there. Not expecting a switch out in the future for the Ninjas. Those Stealth Rocks could be quite problematic if Lunala and Raikou are to go down. Draining Kiss comes out from the Comfort, that's going to break the Shadow Shield. There's the Moongeist Beam into the Bastiodon, then the Bastiodon now goes down. Comfort's Substitute going to be broken by that Shadow Ball from the Raikou, and now Metagross does switch in the Mega Metagross. And this is not a good position for Oma facing down. You know, I said he knows that Raikou has got the Shadow Ball already, knows how much damage that Moongeist Beam is going to take, and knows that his Mega Metagross is not faster. So I think this one could already be over. This one's went a bit disastrously for Oma with a second week in a row, just not quite went the way he wanted to. And the Ninjas looking super strong here. There's the Draining Kiss again from the Comfort, gets the crit, not that it wouldn't matter too much. Bullet Punch going to come out, the Lunala happily lives that, and there's Moongeist Beam is going to Orco that Mega Metagross. Comfort with it all to do now. Some good damage there away from Shadow Ball. The leftovers getting a load of the HP back there for that Comfort. And this one looks all but over then. There's the Moongeist Beam into that Comfort. Thunderbolt from the Raikou takes it out, and the Ninjas are going to take this one 2-0. So of course, GG's to Oma. That was a really, really fun one. It was really good to use two of my new Pokemon. I was really excited to use Raikou and Finny. So that was really good. And it's just so much fun for Lunala to finally start pulling its weight. I was really worried in the early season that it just wasn't doing anything, because people knew that it was going to be going for Trick Room. It made it kind of obvious that people were just double focusing it down. But it's starting to get there now. So second win in a row feels pretty good. But yeah, GG's to Oma. Oma now on the 1-5 record, so has got a hell of an uphill climb if he wants to make playoffs and avoid that relegation. But if anyone's going to do it, it's going to be Oma. We said earlier, Oma is a pretty talented player. If he can work something out with his team, then, you know, who's to say he can't make it back? You know, he's got to get a lot of wins in these final weeks, but we will certainly see what happens. Anyway, on to our third game then of the week, and it is another relegation 6-pointer. It is Newcastle Thundurus taking on the Swindon Rookidees. So last season, these two in the same division. Obviously, the Rookidees were then called the South Croydon Saurs. We're in the British Pokemon League East Division. Rookidees getting both wins over Dave's Thundurus last season. So Dave not able to overcome Draco last season, but it's a brand new season. And Dave is looking right on form with his Thundurus right now. 2 wins consecutively under his belt, barring that loss to Silver. So looking very, very solid, and has made some very, very good trades during the free agency window as well. Dropped the Mega Sableye. You know, Dave wasn't too happy with that Mega, and has picked up the Mega Banette, which of course has that prankster ability. This thing is absolutely superb. Not only that, has a very, very strong high physical attack stat, so keep an eye out for that. Then has also picked up the Jumpluff and the Weezingala, as well as the Vikavolt as well. So that Weezingala not only has Levitate, Misty Terrain, but of course has Neutralizing Gas like the regular Weezing as well. So quite a lot of variety that Dave can do with this Weezingala. So, you know, there is quite a bit of a ground weakness on his team, you know, with that Probopass, Incineroar and Dialga. With Levitate, Weezingala, you know, you've got a really great switch in there to just sort of negate any of that damage. Of course, Lantern also weak to ground type as well. Has Levitate on that Vikavolt as well, so, you know, he can really negate those weaknesses very well with those pickups. You know, Vikavolt, we've seen it in the first 2 seasons of the British Pokemon League as well. This thing is crazy good under Trick Room. Has that really high special attack stat, and has a pretty good move pool as well. You know, any electric or bug moves are going to be really hitting hard. I'll be honest, I'm not too sure about Jumpluff. I don't know what it does. But this is Dave. I'm sure he has something in mind for it. I won't question that. So I'm excited to see if Jumpluff makes an appearance. But, you know, what I want to say, this team has really been putting in the work. It is so heavily bulky. Here's my cheerleader. That Suicune and Insane have been absolutely stout leaders for this team, along with Ferrothorn as well. You know, Ferrothorn just there and absolutely play annoyance. And then, you know, Suicune, Lantern or Dialga just able to come in and just sort of clean up the scraps. It's looking really, really strong, and Dave, you can tell, is just growing in confidence and getting more comfortable with this team. You know, he didn't make the best start of life, but you know, it was only the first 2 weeks. Plenty of home left to play, as we always say. And yeah, it's looking really good. So it's exciting to see how Dave does the rest of the season. Over on Draco's side, then, has also made quite a number of changes, like a few other teams have. You might notice a familiar face there that Melmetal has come over from the Wobbuffet Ninjas, Genesec going the other way, and then into free agency, and has also picked up a brand new Mega. Obviously, Draco's Mega has gone over to the Tyrants. Mega Diancie is gone, and Draco opting to drop that Mega Gengar into free agency and picking up the Mega Gyarados then. So not only is this thing going to get Intim off as it enters the field before it Megas, but it also changes typing to Water Dark as well, which makes it very, very exciting one to use. Going to stop any of those prankster moves off against it as well from that Mega Bonnet, so important to note there. You know, and pairs up really well. You know, a little bit of, you know, physically defensive weakness to some of that team, apart from the Melma, of course, which is crazy high HP in defense. But the likes of the Yveltal and things, you know, it's going to really benefit from those Intim drops, so something to take note of. Has also picked up the Quagsire and Torterra, and Stantler has came over from the Inglorious Surfers, and Mimikyu as well being picked up. You know, Mimikyu with that disguise makes it not only a very, very solid Trick Room set, but behind a sword stance, it can really wreck house as a physical sweeper as well. So Draco's team looking very strong. Of course, that Yveltal has been putting in the work for him this far in the season, and of course, Coco paired up with that Drifloon to get that electric seed and burden off is always an option that he can go for as well. So it's quite a versatile team now, and has a Trick Room mode, which, you know, that Draco was lacking in that first half of the season. So interesting to see how this one goes. I think they match up really well. So let's get into this one then. It is the Newcastle Thundurus taking on the Swindon Rookidees, and Swindon Rookidees with a few of those new faces in the team, the Mimikyu, Volcarona, the Altera, Mega Gyarados, the Quagsire, and Dave has got the Vikavolt and the Weezing Goliath in that team, alongside the Dialga, Incineroar, Tapu Lele, Ferrothorn as well in that team. And Dialga and Tapu Lele leading the line to getting that terrain up there for Dave, so it's really important to get those expanding forces off with a boost that second terrain. So, you know, that Rage Powder potentially coming up on Volcarona is not, you know, Dave's not going to care too much about that. And Quagsire leading the line on the Rookidee side as well. Instant swaps in, gets the Intim off on both sides. And Rage Powder comes out, there's the Energy Ball from the Lele, so trying to get in that Quagsire slot. And the Yawn comes out from the Quagsire, is going to make that Intim sleepy. You know, he's ready for a bedtime, wants to take a little bit of a nap. But Dave now potentially can freely just sort of switch in something else now just to get rid of that drowsy. Can freely just play around that. And don't know that either Volcarona or Quagsire can sort of threaten much in the way of what's in the back of Dave's Weezing. Goliath now switches in and doesn't look to be neutralising glass. There's the side shot from Lele. It's very good damage with Volcarona, and just point that service very soon. Because some good info for Dave there, finding out it's got the berry, and Quagsire just going for the drowsy and the Lele. So just Draco just trying to slow Dave down a bit, just trying to get something to sleep so he can, you know, allow some sweetness. Now Instant swaps in again, gets that Intim off, and Volcarona's not going to care too much about those Intims and people draining the house. And Toxic now coming out from the Galar Weezing, and it is Levitate Galar Weezing, so that Air Power not going to do very much, and gets the Toxic off on the Quagsire as well. Yeah, that's a very good time there for Dave. You know, no damage away on the Weezing, and Giga Drain doing very, very little instance. And now in comes the Gyarados, gets the Intim onto that Instant, which is very well. Then the Strange Steam missing the Quagsire and Flare, but it's not going to do a whole lot too bad. Like Gyarados drowsy coming out again from that Quagsire, just forcing Dave into those switches. Gyarados, you think going to go for Mega, you think it's going to attack in that instant slot, but Dave's going to probably look to swap that thing out with it being drowsy, so maybe he's got something if it's lucky to try and do with that Galar Weezing. No breaking out coming out. There's the Dragon Dance from the Mega Gyarados, and gets it to tackle, gets the burn comes off from the Weezing's Willow, so there's the parting shot from Instant. Going to drop the Gyarados' attack even more. Now in comes the Lele, drowsy comes out on that Weezing. Toxic doing so much to that Quagsire then. And the terrain now does end. Yep, sorry, I'll turn the music down on the game. Thank you for letting me know. So no psychic terrain up now, so that might be a very good thing for Instant now to be able to come in and get those fake outs off. Could be a useful tool in Dave's arsenal. Protect comes out from that Mega Gyarados. Thunderbolt blocked from that Lele. There's a Strange Steam also blocked on the Mega Gyarados. And Yawn comes out onto the Lele. So now that Galawheezing is going to go to sleep. So Dave opting not to switch it out. Toxic slowly but surely chipping away at that Quagsire, getting some big toxic damage off there. Dave just playing the stall game really well. His Galawheezing is asleep. But it's whether the Mega Gyarados with that ban and attack drop has anything to threaten it. There's the Thunderbolt from the Lele. Gyarados does live that, and there's a Dragon Dance to get itself back into neutral attack. But that half damage from ban is going to really hurt. His Recover comes out from that Quagsire. The Toxic just chipping away as Lele, not switching out, then also gets put to sleep now. So 2 of Dave's mons asleep. Not a great position, but as we said earlier, it's very, very bulky is Dave's team, so it really lends itself well in this position to be able to force to switch out and maybe live through those sleeps. Incin now on the field. Protect comes out from that Mega Gyarados to stop that fake out or potential parting shot. Lele stays asleep, then his Recover comes out from that Quagsire, gets it back up to 100% HP, but look at how much that toxic damage does. Takes about nearly 40% HP off from that Quagsire, which is absolutely phenomenal. So Draco's kind of locked into having to try and recover spam. There's the Waterfall into the Incin. It's super effective, but it's not going to do much, and the Citrus Berry is going to get procced on that Incin as the Lele wakes up. Energy Balls into that Quagsire, and Quagsire is gone. So now comes out from that Incin. It's going to drop the Mega Gyarados' special attack. Not that it's going to carry much of that. Burn damage is slowly taking its toll on that Mega Gyarados as well. Now Volcarona switches in. Lele does have Fairy move in its arsenal here, so Gyarados is not safe. Waterfall coming out in the Incin. Good damage there despite the burn. There's a Psyshock from the Lele, gets rid of the Volcarona. Snarl is not quite going to take care of the Mega Gyarados, but Burn is going to get the job done. And now it is all up to Mimikyu then with the 1v4. Of course, Mimikyu does have that disguise, so its first attack is only going to do a tiny bit of damage away. Incin switches out, and now in comes the Galawheezing. Sword Stance goes up there, so Dave allowing the Sword Stance to go up. Psyshock comes out, breaks the disguise, so there you go, a little bit of damage away to that Mimikyu, but now Mimikyu's in a great spot with the 2x attack. Of course, Dave can switch around with that Incin, get parting shots and intimidates up, but there's a Shadow Sneak, and that caused the Lele. Galawheezing, is it going to wake up? No, it stays asleep. Incin now you'd expect to switch back in just to drop that attack a little bit, and it does. Intim comes out just to try and slow that Mimikyu down, but I think Mimikyu's got any kind of fighting move here, and it does this Drain Punch and takes out the Incin now and gets the Mimikyu back up to full HP. Galawheezing, is it going to wake up? No, it stays asleep. So now it's all up to Dialga, which we haven't seen since turn number 1. And so it is Life Orb Mimikyu is on now. Dialga, can it live a Drain Punch? Is it going to? Oh, it does half damage. Dialga does live though, and then one Flash Cannon here you would think is going to do the damage, and there it is. Dave takes game number 1, a very chaotic game number 1, going all the way to 10 and 14, but Dave able to get the job done in the end. Mimikyu though almost getting the 1v4 in the end there. I think if it wasn't for that Intim from Incin, that Mimikyu probably would have done it. So Draco switching things up and kicking things off with the Mega Gyarados and the Yveltal, both going to be weak to those fairy type attacks from Lele though. Dave starting things off with Incin Lele, so gets the terrain off, so no fake out's going to be available from that for that Incin, but could look to try and switch it out in another way, or maybe go for a Snarl into that Yveltal just to try and slow it down. The Yveltal can't really pressure Incin too much. As Gyarados goes for his Mega, gets more break up. There's the Dark Pulse doing some good damage away. There's the Thunderbolt into the Mega Gyarados, special effective. Dragon Dance does go up just to get itself back up to neutral attack. Parting Shot comes out from the Incin, it's going to drop the special attack on the Yveltal, and now in comes the Vikavolt then. So Draco has been known to run the Heat Wave on that Yveltal, so Vikavolt is not going to enjoy taking one of those. Don't know whether Dave knows this or not. But one Thunderbolt from that Vikavolt is going to do some really big damage away as the Oblivion Wind comes out. Not too much damage away to Vikavolt. Thunderbolt blocked from that. And the Thunderbolt almost takes out the Yveltal. Yveltal lives on 1% HP, so it's not Sash Yveltal, but somehow it hangs on. That is insane. Vikavolt doing some insane damage there as Torterra now switches in. Protect comes out from that Yveltal, expecting that Thunderbolt, so it's going to be immune. So it's a good read there from Draco. And the Bug Buzz going into that Yveltal, so Dave could have got a prediction there in a very big way, and if it had hit that Torterra was in a lot of trouble from that Bug Buzz. And Vikavolt with very, very high special attack. Yeah, Fix Slash, there's a Heat Wave. Doesn't quite take care of Vikavolt. There's the Side Shock into the Torterra. Ironhead is going to get rid of that Lilla, so Draco does get one on the board, and there's the Thunderbolt. And as your Velta goes down, it's 3v3 then, so trading Mons on this turn. It's a little bit more sort of, you know, kamikaze, all guns blazing this one from both sides. So Dave not playing his usual slow style and just going for all-out hyper offense. But definitely able to limit the damage like your Velta did with that parking shot, so really good stuff there from Dave's Insane. As the Mimikyu does switch in, as in comes the Ferrothorn then, so Draco going to have to be careful here because he's got two physical attackers there in Mimikyu and the Mega Gyarados, and I believe Torterra is as well, so he's going to want to get rid of this Ferrothorn as soon as possible and not allow it to get any iron defenses up, or it's going to be in a world of trouble, is Draco. And of course, Dave in recent weeks has been running that Rocky Helmet with Iron Barbs just for that extra little chip damage away from those physical contact moves. Has he got really anything to threaten the Vikavolt here? That is the thing. You would think Draco's going to try and go for the sword stance here, and I knows either way that Disguise is going to save him from taking any damage initially. Tim comes in from the instant, so can drop the Mimikyu's attack, gets 1.5 times attack either way. There's a superpower. What a read there from Draco. Superpower into that instant slot, and instant goes down. Does drop Torterra's defenses there, but great stuff there from Draco. Gets rid of that instant, so now no attack drops can come out from instant. So, you know, can Draco even maybe go for another sword stance here? Can he risk it? You know, if there's any kind of steel move on that Ferrothorn, then maybe not, but it is now Leech Seed, as now Mega Gyarados does switch in. There is the Shadow Sneak into Vikavolt, so it's now all up to Ferrothorn, so it's a switch around from the first game. It's now a 1v3 for Ferrothorn side, and Ferrothorn does get an iron defense up, so this is now a very, very, very scary position for Draco to be in. He's got to get rid of that Ferrothorn before it starts getting too crazy with his defense stat. It's already got a high defense stat, which is why you usually see body pressure and that thing, but now it's got the iron defense up. It's going to be very difficult for Draco to deal with if he lets it get too crazy. And not only is Leech Seed going to be doing some chip damage, but if he makes any contact moves, then the Rocky Helmet and Iron Barbs are going to take a little bit away as well. And there's the Drain Punch, going to get some HP back, but the Iron Barbs and the Rocky Helmet are going to negate that. And there's the Lash Out. It's just doing nothing. Iron Barbs going to take some chip damage away from the Mega Gyarados, and Leech Seed does land again. And that's just going to get Ferrothorn's HP right back up there and take away even more HP of that Mega Gyarados, and that Lash Out just doing absolutely nothing. What can Draco do here? Has he got an answer? You know, that Drain Punch is getting good damage away, but just not quite enough. There's the Drain Punch again. It's doing about 25, about a quarter damage and getting some HP right, but the Barbs and Helmet are just negating that. And Iron Defense goes up against from Ferrothorn, Leech Seed, and it's just getting its HP back up to where it was the previous turn. Ferrothorn could be about to do this slowly but surely. Has it got the 1v3 in its locker? You know, Draco has revealed all Pokemon on his side, so Dave knows that Torterra is the only thing kicking around the back once he's dealt with these. Shell Sneak not going to do enough at all, and it's going to mean Mimikyu's HP goes down even more. The Leech Seed then, it's going to take out both of these monsters. He gets another Iron Defense up. This Ferrothorn is just not going to go down. It's now a 1v1 Ferrothorn, just doing it all itself. It's just putting Dave's whole team on his back this game. Dumping Tantrum, just doing nothing, and the Iron Barb's going to cause it to take out, and Body Press gets it done, and Dave takes this one 2-0. Absolutely crazy stuff there from the Ferrothorn 1v3. Oh my god, what an ending to that game. It really looked like Dave was in a spot there towards the end, but Ferrothorn just went, nah, get in my back. Get in my backpack, lads. I'm taking this one. I'm taking you to Victory Road. We got this. Absolutely amazing stuff there. GG's to both players, and of course Dave gets that second win in a row, that all-important second 6-pointer win in a row as well. Wow, Dave's on form right now. I think outside of Aaron, Dave is the unformed team, or one of the informed teams right now. So definitely someone to look out for in the next few weeks. Is really gelling together well with this team. And man, that Vikavolt... Who would have thought that your Velta was going to live on 1%? That's the second time that's happened this season. Who was it? It was it was Draco against Omar actually. Jirachi living on 1% HP with no sash. The scenes here in the British Pokemon League, you don't see anything else like it, lads. Anyway, guys, into our fourth game of the week then. It is the Tyrant Our Tyrants taking on Dogsy's Shadow Kings. Of course, these two have not played each other yet, obviously Silver being a brand new team in the league this season, so no head-to-head record to go off, but they're both on the same season record, both 3-2. Both making very, very solid starts to season 3, and Silver, it being his debut season, you know, I think he's impressing a lot of people with that, you know, a lot of moves and plays you would normally see in like singles or and singles competitive play, and it's just catching a lot of people off guard, and you know, he's playing it so well. It's crazy. It's just crazy what Silver's doing. Absolute props to him. He's playing so well. But during the trade window, did make a couple of trades. He has dropped the Airshrew Dark and his Mega Gengar. Mega Gengar went over to, of course, the Swindon Rookidees, which you mentioned last game. And has got the Mega Diancie in return, and has dropped the Airshrew Dark for a Moongus. That makes me very terrified, I'm not going to lie. That of all the things to add to this team, Moongus is probably what nobody other than Silver wanted to see. But there it is. There is a Moongus. So outside of, you know, Toxics and various other things, stall things this team could do, has now got a Moongus with the likes of Spore and probably whatever else it gets. So this team is looking even more scary now, somehow, than it did before. And of course, you know, you take care of them, and Calyrex Shadow just comes in and cleans up whatever's left with those Astro Barrages. So yeah, it's looking very scary now. You know, outside of that, you know, we've not really seen a lot of Cinderace or Toxapex as of yet. We've seen a little bit of Golem and Altaria and what they can do, but typically the Alolan Executor, the Octillery behind those Protect and Leftovers, getting those Moody boosts, has been really putting in the work, as well as Crobat as well, getting Tailwinds up and Toxic. And of course Registeel as well can go for those Iron Defenses and Amnesia that make it very, very formidable foe to deal with if you aren't able to reset those stats. So keep an eye out for those ones in particular. Over on Dogsy's side then, that Mega Kangaskhan and Necrozma, you know, alongside that Illumis, have been absolutely phenomenal for Dogsy. You know, if people have been able to deal with that, it's Dogsy's had a little bit of trouble outside that, but those three in particular have been really, really great. Dogsy making a couple of trades in the free agency window, has picked up the Oranguru. The Hitmonlee makes its return to the team after, you know, Dogsy had that in Season 1. And Camerupt as well now. Camerupt on that Shadow Kings team. So, you know, Camerupt, a very, very strong special attacker, and it's going to really help out that team. Dogsy's Ditto could be very, very, very important in this one again, just like last week against Silly's Goomies. He can allow that Octillery to get those boosts up. If he brings Ditto in at the right time, in the right slot, can just copy that Octillery. And then he's got, you know, an annoying Mon on his side as well. So, you know, Dogsy can play this one very smartly if at all possible. And it could be something he looks to go for. That Oranguru as well could be really, really good here. You know, not only has Symbiosis, but also has Telepathy, and of course has Instruct as well. You know, Instruct can really play an important part in a team like this. So might be something that Dogsy looks to sort of operate on that team. Not a whole lot of water types here, so I would think the Gastrodon probably stays at home for this one, but you never know. And are we going to see Darkrai? You know, we've been expecting the Sweet Scent you know, with Darkrai set up for quite a number of weeks now, and Dogsy's never quite pulled the trigger. So could this be the week that we see it? Is it going to happen? Is Dogsy going to just keep teasing us, or are we going to get to see it? We will certainly see. Let's get in this one then. It is the fourth game of the week. It is Dogsy Shadow Kings against the Tyrants. Dogsy has the Illumis, Mega Kangaskhan, the Necrozma, Darkrai is in there alongside the debutant Camerupt, and Ditto, meanwhile Silver has got his own debut in that Mega Diancie alongside Cali Shadow, Octillery, Crobat, Registeel, and the Altaria just making an appearance this week. And Silver leading the line with a bit of an offense, the sort of hyper offense duo. It is the Cali Shadow alongside that Crobat. We have seen this lineup before, and last time that Cali Shadow did have Trick and a choice item on it, so it might be something he looks to go for here, just to, you know, try and slow something down. Of course, he cannot switch that onto the Mega of Mega Kangaskhan, it won't work. Rock Tomb does come out, it doesn't quite take Crobat, it does drop its speed, across the front one, allowing that attack to hit twice. Trick doesn't work, so he did try it on the Mega Kangaskhan. Taunt does come out from that Crobat, that's going to block any status moves from that Illumis, and thus rendering it a bit useless here. But Dogsy has been able to get Tailwind up very important here. Of course, no Scrappy on that Mega Kangaskhan, so outside of Sucker Punch it can't really hurt the Cali Shadow. So obviously got to be careful of that one, but I think he's going to look to try and take care of that Crobat, but be careful also in allowing Silver a safe switch into something like the Octillery or the Registeel, not the Kangaskhan or the Rock Chip just come out from Mega Kangaskhan, just take out Crobat. There is the trick onto the Camerupt, gives Camerupt those choice specs. Maybe not what you would have wanted to give Camerupt, to be honest. Camerupt with a decent special attack stat now Altarius, which is in. We've already seen Rock Chip out of that Mega Kangaskhan, so Altaria not going to enjoy taking one of those. So you're going to have to be very careful of that. And Silver may look to try and just get those Astral Barrages off now. Obviously not going to really hurt the Mega Kangaskhan, but just try and get rid of the Camerupt. Camerupt is allowed to get an eruption off. This is going to really hit hard and hit where it hurts. On Silver, so you've got to be careful of that. Those spread moves are really where the sort of thing comes up. Does come out, it doesn't quite do enough to Altaria. Is going to drop the speed twice there. This is one that you mentioned. There's the Dark Pulse into Mega Kangaskhan, not going to do enough. There's the Eruption, also not quite doing enough, only just half damage to the Cali Shadow, and the Cotton Guard comes out from the Altaria. I think at that 40% HP is maybe a bit of a wasted move there from the Silver side, but you never know, it might just be enough for it to live. The Rock Tooth from Kangaroo, and Kangaroo will certainly see one more Eruption is going to probably do enough to take out the Cali Shadow, as whether Silver has a safe switching back to deal with that. The Rock Tooth is going to take out that Altaria. Then there is the Dark Pulse in the Mega Kanga, again not doing a lot. There's the Eruption is going to take out the Cali Shadow, and Dogsy starting this one very strong, as now in comes the Registeel, and Registeel not going to want to look down the barrel of that Choice Specs Eruption. Camerupt Fire Punch into that Registeel is going to get the burn, and Body Press not be able to take out the Mega Kangaskhan. Eruption though is going to take out Registeel, and Dogsy takes this first game into game 2. So great start there from Dogsy Shadow Kings, getting out from the right foot there, and into game 2. And Silver starting a little bit differently here. He's got the Crobat and Mega Diancie this time, and Dogsy leading the line with the Loomies and Darkrai. Are we about to see the duel? Is it going to happen? Is the Sweet Scent going to come out? And then Darkrai put both Muns to sleep. Of course, that is typically the setup that you see with this duo. There is the Tailwind then, so it doesn't go for the Sanders. Thunder misses on the Darkrai, so doesn't go for the setup, and Diamond Storm almost taking out the Loomies. Is going to proc that Aguar Berry and doing some very, very big damage away to Darkrai as well. So not a great. I really thought Dogsy was going to go for it there, but he holds off on it. Maybe would have been the better play in that regard, but I was maybe a bit worried that the Darkrai wasn't really fast enough. That was really big damage there onto both Dogsy's Muns. So Mega Diancie putting in the work already for Silver. Call comes out from that Illumi, so Tailwind's going to fail on that Crobat. That's good stuff. Thunder is going to take Crobat down to its Sash, but there's another Diamond Storm. It hits as well, and it takes out both Darkrai and Illumis, and already it is a 4v2. That Crobat is on Cordon on 1% HP, but also does have Tailwind up as now Necrozma, and the Ditto comes in. So now Dogsy has a Mega Diancie of his own. So not only has he got one that can really threaten Silver's side, but get some good information on what the set that Mega Diancie is running as well. Get a little idea of what Silver might be going for. Crobat does switch out. In comes the Artillery Protect, comes out from that Mega Diancie Diamond Storm. He gets some very good damage away at that Mega for that Octaria's Meteor Beam comes out from the Necrozma. What as he went into is the Mega Diancie is going to protect that Meteor Beam, as now Octillery gets the 2x speed boost, does drop its attack thanks to Moody. The Necrozma now without that boosted special attack, and Mega Diancie with that boosted, Mega Diancie Ditto with that boosted defense thanks to that Diamond Storm. Of course, Diamond Storm does give a percentage chance at boosting its defense. course, not going to enjoy taking a Scald from Silver's Octillery, so certainly got to keep an eye out for that. May look to wait for Octillery to get another boost, as there is the ally switch. Scald comes out, that gets the burn on the Mega Diancie as well, on the Ditto, sorry, and there's the Heat Wave. Not going to quite do enough to that Octillery, but does get the all-important burn, which is going to negate that leftovers damage coming out. Moody is going to boost its attack and drop its defenses though, so could be a chance for Ditto here to try and get rid of that Octillery, but Octillery would think is probably going to go for a Protect this time just to keep itself kicking around. Silver tries to tie up this game, his course still has the 2-mon advantage. Protect comes out from the Ditto. There's Scald, gets stopped, so obviously knew that Octillery was faster. Good stuff, there's the Diamond Storm, gets some good damage away to Necrozma, and does give the defense boost to Mega Diancie. There's the Earth Power from Necrozma, and Dogsy gets one on the board and is maybe on his way to getting this one back, but that Ditto is in a world of trouble now. Also, I want to apologise, I said that you could maybe switch the Ditto out, we forgot that Dogsy had already lost 2 months, so apologies for that one. Is now Crobat switches in on 1% HP, so this one could be a bit of a hatchy-matchy this turn if Silver isn't careful. Could stand to lose 2 months. Ally switch does come out. There's the tailwind from the Crobat. Scald in and Crobat. So really good ally switch usage. There's a Heat Wave comes on. That takes care of both Crobat and Octillery. And now it's going to be down to Silver's last one. Watch which one is it? Is it going to be the Cali Shadow, or is it going to be the support ones of Registeel or Altaria? It is the Cali Shadow, and he does have Tailwind, and neither of these ones are going to resist that Astral Barrage, so Silver could wrap this one up here then, despite coming down from, almost 4v2. Silver still could wrap this one on a little pink bow. Obviously Dogsy trying to decide what to do here. There's the Astral Barrage. It gets rid of both Necrozma and the Ditto, and Silver is going to tie us up at 1 apiece. So we actually have a game 3 this week. In the game 3 between the two, we knew it was going to be closer than both being on the 3-2 record, and they're both absolutely gunning for it to try and get as high as possible in the league. And Silver sticking with what worked for him in that last game and sticking with the Mega Diancie and the Crobat. And Dogsy switching back to that game 1 duo of the Illumies and the Mega Kangaskhan. And so 2 Megas facing off against each other. So Dogsy is aware of the set that Mega Diancie is running. Pretty much has that Crobat set down to a T as well. Knows it's got the Toxic and the Tailwind Taunt as well. You'd expect to protect it with the other moveset. So Dogsy already with some important information going this final game. Of course, Silver the same as well. Has some pretty good sort of info on Dogsy's team. The same now knows that Necrozma is running Air Power, so can threaten that Mega Diancie. Kind of goes to Mega. There's the Protect from the Mega Diancie. Fake out blocked by that, and there is the Sunny Day. Taunt comes out from that Crobat, so that's going to stop any Tailwind shenanigans. But does have the Sun up then. Maybe trying to sort of stunt out that Octillery potentially if it comes into play. A good start though. No one's with any taking any damage that time. So a bit more slow paced start this one. Taking the time just to decide what they want to do, what they want to do, Silver can play this one quite patiently, knowing what he's got in the back. I would expect that Octillery to be running things in the back for Silver, once he gets a Tailwind up. That speed's going to be all important here. Knows the Illumies and this switches out, can't get it as Necrozma now switches in, just go for the switch out. Diancie goes for Mega, there is the Tailwind on the Crobat. Diamond Storm does miss the Mega Kangaskhan, gets some good damage away at that Necrozma. There is the Fire Punch to the Mega Diancie, does get the burn, but not going to do all that much damage, to be honest. Even in the Sun, of course, Mega Diancie going to resist that with it being Rock Fairy type. Almost like double resists it, to be honest, doesn't it? So not going to do a whole lot of damage. There is the toxic poison from the Crobat. Diamond Storm comes out. It misses the Mega Kangaskhan again. That burn getting some good, stopping that damage from really high in the Necrozma. And there's the Rock Tomb. Going to slow that Crobat right down and get some very good damage as well. Meteor Beam comes out from that Necrozma. And that's going to take care of the Crobat. So advantage to Dogsy then, but has got to be careful. That toxic has put Mega Kangaskhan on a timer now. Artillery switches in then. Is this where it becomes difficult for Dogsy then? The Artillery can be free to just go for Protect here and allow the Moody Boost to take control of this game. Protect comes out from the Mega Diancie. No Protect from the Artillery, but does get the substitute up. That Tailwind really helping out. The substitute is going to be faded by that Rock Tomb, and you're going to have to take some of the other damage. Air Power blocked by that Protect from that Mega Diancie. Leftover is going to get some of that HP back for Artillery and gets the special defense boost, which is going to be very important against that Necrozma. Not so much against that Mega Kangaskhan, but it's when that Mega Kangaskhan's got anything to really threaten Artillery. It does drop its attack though, thanks to that Moody, but it is a special attacker, so it's not going to really care too much about that. Ally Switch does come out. There's the Rock Tomb, so good Ally Switch there from Silver. There is the Scald from the Octillery. Does get the burn on the Necrozma, so 2 status effects as Meteor Beam comes out again from the Necrozma with no Power Herb to allow that Meteor Beam to work in one turn, but does at least buff its special attack. Obviously trying to negate that special defense boost that Octillery is getting. This time it gets an attack boost via that Moody boost. Is half speed with that Tailwind down, and obviously Silver no way to get that Tailwind up again with that Crobat being gone. Dogsy's got to try and start getting some damage away because he's got 2 months with 1 burn, 1 toxic. The Protect comes out from that Artillery. Rock Tomb gonna be blocked by that. Maybe expecting the Ally Switch and Meteor Beam as well, also blocked. There's the Diamond Storm. The burn is going to take Grundle. Necrozma. Diamond Storm not quite doing enough, but the toxic damage doing some big damage away at Kanga, and Kanga's now in world of trouble. As the Moody boost gives Octillery a special attack boost. That is exactly what Silver wanted, and now the sun is out as well. So this is perfect for Octillery to start just wrecking house now. His speed is dropped quite harshly. That is the only thing that could hurt us. Loomies isn't playing now, so can go for a Tailwind to allow it to that Kangaskhan to go first. Speed well dropped on that Mega Diancie, so I think Kangaskhan would be going first either way here anyway. Mega Kanga just switches out. In comes the Ditto, copies that Mega Diancie then with that defense buff, and Protect comes out from Mega Diancie. There's the Tailwind from the Loomies. The Loomies going to get hit by that Scald and somehow managed to live in, but the Scald gets the burn again, and gets the special attack boost again from Moody. Aguaberry is going to give the Loomies some of that HP back. That might be all important. This one, that Octillery though is getting scarier and scarier. Dogsy may look this time to switch out the Ditto to try and get that Octillery. And he does, and in comes the Mega Kangaskhan. There is the Encore and the Illumi's Diamond Storm. It is going to take care of Kanga, and again, Diamond Storm taking Illumis down to enough was their Skull's going to get rid of Illumis anyway if the burn would have done so anyway. And now it is Ditto against the world, gets another special attack boost. Octillery is locked into Scald as well by that Encore. And now Ditto, it has copied the speed on that Octillery though, gets an idea of that set on that Octillery though, regardless. Can the Ditto do the work? Gets that 2 times per def that he might need to Protect, comes out from that Ditto. Skull's going to be blocked by that Protect. What Moody Boost with 3 times special defense. That could be all important for defending against his Octillery here. But also drops its speed dropping this time, and Octillery on Silver side going to be faster. I don't know, even with the tail, maybe not with the Tailwinds, it's going to be enough. It's only 1 more turn. The Tailwind there is a Scald from a Silver side that's still doing some big damage, whereas Encore ends. Gets the Moody attack boost, but drops its speed again. Those are not the Moody boost that Dogsy will have been wanting on his Ditto. As what is the final one for Silver? It is Cali Shadow. Not what Dogsy will have been wanting to see. I think with a special defense boost, it should be able to tank the Astral Barrage, but those Skulls, if he's able to get a burn on Silver's side, that Silver's Octillery is going to be in a prime position. A trick comes out, and that's an amazing play from Silver. Gets the trick onto the Ditto, is going to lock it into Scald, and now that Ditto is in a world of trouble. You know, it can't protect, it can't do anything other than Scald, and Silver's Octillery is now sat behind its substitute. Cali Shadow somehow living that Scald as well from full-time special attack Octillery. I cannot believe that. What an amazing play that was from Silver, by the way. Can we just applaud that for a second? That was unbelievable. You know, the Octillery may well be able to deal with that Cali Shadow now, but it can't deal with the Silver's Octillery, especially while it's stuck behind a substitute. And you know, Dogsy can't even go for a substitute of his own on that Ditto. Now the specs are tricked onto him. Protect comes out from the Cali Shadow Coasters. There's the Scald from the Octillery. Scald onto the Octillery from the Ditto. Does fade the substitute. There is the special attack drop on Silver's side. How important could that be? And that was another speed drop on Ditto. God. How much slower can this Ditto get as there's the Astral Barrage? It gets some good damage with special defense, which is really helping out. Scald is going to take down the 600 HP. Scald from the Ditto is going to take out the Cali Shadow, but that is going to do it though. The Octillery on Silver's side is going to be able to get the job done. Of course, no leftovers on the Ditto, so all in all, it's not going to matter too much. Tentacles, the Octillery going to get the job done, and Silver going to take yet another victory. Makes up for that loss to Niels last week. Gets back to winning ways. Meanwhile, Dogsy taking yet another loss in this one to take him to 3 for 3. But what a start here from Silver, and there is Octillery getting the job done. And what a phenomenal game. I was watching that, and that Choice Specs trick player was just big brain. Silver, big brain is all I can say. GG's to both guys, of course. That was a really fun one to watch. Going all the way to the wire there, the 1v1 between Ditto and Octillery with all those boosts. I mean, damn. You know, you gotta think, if either of those moody boosts go a different way in that one, that could go completely different. You know, Dogsy's one gets the speed buffs, and Silver's one gets the special defense drops, and that one, you know, goes completely the opposite way. But what a crazy game between those two, and I'm sure those two are going to have another exciting battle come playoffs. But anyway, guys, on to our 5th game of the week then, and it is Space City PC against the Scuba Squirtle. So, Meme, the only team out of all the 12 not choosing to make any changes, sticking with his guns. You know, he's got a very, very strong team, let's be honest. A very, very strong team indeed. That Sun team with the Sun duo of Mega Charizard and the Groudon proving very, very, very phenomenal. You know, as we said in previous weeks, paired with that Venusaur or Charm can make it really lethal. You know, and as we've seen as well, you know, that Umbreon paired with the Rotom Wash can be quite a difficult pairing to deal as well. You know, that Rotom Wash has got access to screens. You know, that Umbreon can just you know, dropping your stats and moonlighting to get its HP back, and Umbreon being as bulky as it is can make it very difficult to deal with. You know, I mean, we've seen some pretty interesting tech plays as well. You know, like Gravity on that Dusknoir, allow Precipice Blades to hit the flying type of Pelipper. So, you know, Meme not only has got a very, very strong team, is a very strong player as well. So this one's going to be quite a tough one for Niels, but Niels is a good player as well. You know, obviously the first player to beat Silver since week 1, so do not count him out of this one. Over on Niels' side, then, speaking of Niels, just the 2 changes, swapping out his Mega and Legendary. Then he's picked up Ash Greninja for Mega Blastoise and Ho-Oh in place of the Giratina. There's a Ho-Oh, very, very bulky, and, you know, of course, has access to Sacred Fire. It makes it a very lethal opponent. You know, once Psychic Terrain is up, you know, no Fake Outs can go in this thing, and it's going to be very, very difficult to stop. Of course, watch out for the Ash Greninja with Battle Bond, of course. If it gets a kill, activates his Ash Greninja Mega, and that thing can hit real, real hard. It's very high special attack stats. We saw how powerful the Psychic Terrain duo of Indeedee and Alakazam were last week as well, so that could be something that that Niels goes for this week. You know, tries to replicate that. You know, that those double expanding forces can really hit hard. Keep an eye on that Volbeat as well, that Prankster ability. We just saw how good Illumise is with that Prankster. they'll be equally as good. Can set up tailwind and weather. That can be all important, you know, try and reset the sun on Meme's side. And of course Entei as well is going to potentially benefit from the sun that Meme sets up, so could look out for that. Another player potentially on Neil's side that we have seen him run is of course the skill swap from the Alakazam into that Truant Slacking. And Slacking is just phenomenal when it doesn't have Truant. This thing hits like an absolute truck. So keep an eye out for that one. And the final couple of mons is Ambipom, Sork, Emolga, and Manectric. Not really seen any of Sork or Ambipom. Of course, did see Emolga and Manectric run a couple of weeks back against Silly's Goomies when Latvian was at the helm of the team, but thus far I have not seen him. Could be something that, you know, that Niels tries for. You never know. But anyway, without further ado, let's get into this one. It is Space EPC team of the Scuba, Squirtles, and the Groudon and Charizard, Togekiss, Rotom Wash, Mienshao, and Umbreon in the team. So Rotom Wash and Umbreon, a duo there in there, and the Groudon and the Charizard, of course, going to be featuring in that team as well. Alongside that support on the Mienshao, and over on Neil's side is the Alakazam and the female, as well as Volbeat, Slacking, Mega Greninja, and of course that Ho. So choosing to switch the line with that Indeedee female and the Alakazam, Indeedee getting the special defense buff from that Psychic Seed, so can indeed start going for this expanding force, spread moves. Of course, both mons as well have fairy type moves, which are going to really hit the likes of that Umbreon really hard. I would think that Meme's going to try and get those screens set up with light screen set up with the Rotom Wash, just trying to get some of that damage. And Indeedee and Alakazam are doing, you know, both with pretty decent special attack, especially the Alakazam. The Alakazam is very, very fast as well, so got to keep an eye on that one for sure. There is the Dazzling Gleam from the Alakazam. Umbreon really tanking that one. Dazzling Gleam from the Indeedee as well, and Umbreon only down to half HP. Isn't it? The light screen goes up from the Rotom Wash, and Snarl comes out to drop the special attack on that Indeedee and Alakazam, and Umbreon making a great start there from Meme side. Absolutely crazy stuff that Umbreon did that. I know the Dazzling Gleam is spread moves, but unbelievable stuff that it just took that so well. Even with it being special, you know, super effective, not special effective. Expanding Force is painful, indeed, Aaron, it is. But not into that Umbreon, it's not. So really great start there from me. Slowing the Alakazam and Indeedee right down as Helping Hand comes out from that Indeedee. There is the Dazzling Gleam as again, even with Helping Hand just not doing very much. Umbreon and the Electric Web comes out from the Rotom Wash. That's going to slow Alakazam and Indeedee down. And Toxic into that Indeedee then. So Umbreon running a full support set here, just aiming to just really stall out Niels here with Toxic and dropping the special attack and speeds. That's going to make both Zam and Indeedee much easier to deal with, and you know, we've seen Umbreon running that Moonlight, so can just get back, even though that there's no weather right now, that Umbreon can just get its HP back as Dazzling comes out again for Alakazam. Thunderbolt is going to take care of the Alakazam though. There is Moonlight from Umbreon, gets its HP back up to 88%. That's clean, doing nothing from that Indeedee, and the Toxic slowly chipping away at Indeedee's health. It is now on a timer. Rotom Wash has been taking a little bit of damage through this, but again it also hangs on as now Greninja switches in. Of course that is Battle Bond. Greninja has got to get a KO with Battle Bond to allow it to get the Ash Greninja form. Helping Hand does come out from that Indeedee. There is the U-turn into the Umbreon. Umbreon again just tanks that as now in comes the Volbeat, so just it's switching straight out. There's the Electro Web to slow down that Volbeat and the Indeedee. Again, there's a Snarl. Drop the special attack even further on the Indeedee, so it does even less. Leftovers just getting a bit of HP back for Umbreon and for Volbeat, and so leftovers on both sides. Only one turn of screens left and one turn of the terrain as well. Toxic, though Indeedee almost gone from that Toxic Poison. Follow Me comes out from the Indeedee. There's the Tailwind from the Volbeat. That's going to get a bit of speed back on Neil's side, but the Electro Web's going to take care of Indeedee. There's the Toxic on the Volbeat as well. So Toxic Poison going to completely negate that leftovers HP that it got back. Tailwind is up now, and now in comes the Greninja. This Rotom Wash and the Umbreon still here from turn number 1 on Meme's side, and just not choosing to switch out yet, just not needing to. It is a 2v4 now with Volbeat and Ash Greninja with it all to do. There's a Water Shuriken in the Rotom Wash. It's just not going to do enough. Now Agua Berry's going to make sure of it as well. Just, you know, hardly doing anything. Light Screen does go up. Greninja living that Toxic does miss this time. Greninja, you know, you have to think the light screen helped save that Greninja for sure there, or Rotom Wash would have had itself a kill. Shuriken again, he's going for it to try and get that Mega Form up, but it's not going to happen. There's the Electro Web, it does miss the Ash Greninja though. There's the Snarl, couldn't quite take it. Greninja does drop a special attack. Struggle Bug gonna drop the special attacks on Umbreon and Rotom Wash aside from Volbeat, so Volbeat though slowly but surely losing HP. It's only a matter of time until it goes down. I think one more attack here from the side of Meme is going to take care of that Ash Greninja, and Shuriken's just not doing enough on Meme's side. And the Electro Web this time does hit, does take out the Ash Greninja and slows that Volbeat right down. And Moonlight's going to take the Umbreon back to full HP. Struggle Bug gonna do a bit of damage away there and drop the special attacks on Rotom Wash and Umbreon side, but that Volbeat is done for thanks to that Toxic Poison, and it is a 4-0 to start off from the Meme. So Umbreon and Rotom Wash just doing all the work, because now the Groudon switches in. Snarl gonna take Volbeat down to 10% HP. Struggle Bug in there into Groudon and Umbreon again. Is Toxic going to do enough this time? It is, and Meme takes this first game over Niels. What a start there from Meme with his Space City PC team. Umbreon and Rotom Wash, ladies and gentlemen, just really putting in the work on that one. So Meme choosing to stick with his guns, sticks with the same lineup, and this time Niels switches it up, as chose to leave the line with Alakazam and slacking. So you would expect to see that that skill swap from Alakazam come out onto that slacking. Baby Doll Eyes does come out from the Umbreon, so now Niels knows that full set on the Umbreon. Brick Break coming out from slacking, but it is fast in that Rotom Wash, so not going to stop that Reflect. But you know, Meme now does know that slacking is running it. The attack drop from that Baby Doll Eyes could be important. True, going to stop the Alakazam from doing anything. There's the Brick Break, super effective to that Umbreon. Thunderbolt comes out from the Rotom Wash, and there's the Toxic Poison on the slacking. But a Synchronize comes out thanks to the skill swap, and now the Umbreon is also Toxic Poison. So great smart plays there from Niels. Whether he intended it or not, I don't know, but that's worked out very well in his favour. That Truant being skill swapped off really working out. Skill swap now comes out from that Alakazam, so now that Rotom Wash is going to have the Truant. Electro Web is going to slow slacking and Alakazam right down, and that Toxic Poison, oh, is it going to, no, it's not going to take out Umbreon this time as he Moonlights up to keep himself in this one. So 10-4, and all 4 months we started off with still sticking around, but 2 Toxic Poison and Alakazam with very low HP. There's a Dazzling Gleam into Umbreon. The Rotom Wash, Truant, Prox, and the Brick Break is going to take care of Umbreon this time, so Niels able to deal with the Umbreon this time around, and it is advantage to the Squirtles. Now in comes the Groudon, then sets up the Sun. I think the Precipice Blades is going to be coming Niels' way, but of course that Alakazam now has Levitate thanks to the skill swap on that Rotom Wash, so that was very smart plays there from the Squirtles. There's his Sucker Punch on the Groudon, not really doing a lot, neither is Shadow Ball. Does drop the special defense on the Rotom Wash, and the Brick Break is going to take out the slacking. Electro Web takes care of the Alakazam, so all of a sudden it is a 3v2 in Meme's favour, as now in comes the Greninja and the Ho-Oh this time. So Ho-Oh making its debut alongside that Ash Greninja. Ash Greninja's Water Shuriken's not particularly great here under the sun. Of course, he does have 2 ways of setting up the sun. Does mean this Water Shurikens does come out, doing about 5% damage to Groudon. Does get all the hits. Will-O-Wisp comes out though from the Ho-Oh, and that's Grace up there. That's going to really negate the attack on the Groudon. Rock Slide still doing some big damage away at Ho-Oh, and Truant proccing again on that Rotom Wash. So that could be very important. That Rotom Wash is only hitting every other time. Water Shuriken again, so just trying to go for it to get the Ash Greninja out here. He's got to try it, of course. You know, he's got to go for it. There's the Facade in the Ho-Oh. So that's a great move choice there from Meme, as well as Roost is going to give Ho-Oh some of his HP back, but the Thunderbolt from the Rotom Wash is going to take care of the Greninja before it can do it. Now Ho-Oh is up against it. It's got the 1v3, of course Rotom Wash not going to move this time, so can maybe choose to Roost up, because that Groudon is burnt, and Ho-Oh does go for it as well, as there's the Facade from the Groudon. They're taking Ho-Oh down half damage, and Ho-Oh can potentially just protect now. Stop it from taking a hit. Of course, it's not going to take a hit from Rotom Wash either way. I mean, it wouldn't this time, but there is the Roost on the Ho-Oh. Taking it back up to follow speed. Facade gets the crit, but not quite enough to cost True procs again. So Ho can just keep roosting and just keep roosting because Groudon's going to go down this next turn from the burn damage. There is a protect from the Ho. Stops that Facade, stops the attack from the Rotom Wash. And there goes Groudon. So all of a sudden it's a 1v2 and in comes the Mega Charizard. Has Mega Charizard got anything to really threaten this Ho though? That is the problem. There goes the Mega Charizard, sets the Sun back up again. Mystical Fire, is it going to do enough? No, Ho does live it, does drop a special attack. There's the Roost again. Truant on that Rotom Wash. How big could that have been? That early game play from Neil swapping that Truant off the Alakazam. Air Slash comes out trying to go for those flinches, but it doesn't. Ho gets the Roost off, gets its speed dropped from that Rotom Wash. His Electro was also choosing to take the attack this time. Air Slash comes out again from that Megazard. Is it going to get the flinch? No, it doesn't. There's a Sacred Fire doing so much damage to the Megazard there. Great stuff from the Ho, despite the drops. I mean, it is under Sun, of course, so Sacred Fires are going to be boosted from that. Protect comes out from the Ho. Air Slash again, and then Protect from the Thunderbolt. And Niels may well be able to do this then. You know, on the 10, the Rotom Wash is going to be attacking. You can just choose to Protect it. You just keep potentially roosting up it, or just Sacred Firing into that Charizard. Of course, Meme can do the same on the Mega Charizard, but there, the Sun now does end. Comes out from the horse. The smart stuff there from Niels is just slowly stalling Meme out here. Sacred Fire blocked by that Protect. So it's just a battle of Protects at this point. It is just a battle of wits. You know, every time that Niels is going for an attack, Charizard is protecting, and every time that Rotom Wash can attack, you know, Niels is protecting us. Just go for the light screen this time. Crit on the Air Slash. Is it going to get the flinch? It doesn't. There's a Sacred Fire into that Rotom Wash. That's some good damage away. Can Ho do it? Ho is very, very bulky. Protect comes out as expected, and we're just going to see this for the rest of the game. Just Protect every attacking turn from Rotom Wash. I mean, of course he's got to. It's all he can go for here. Just sort of go all out. And all Meme can do is just go for those Air Slashes, try and get the flinches. There's a Sacred Fire onto Megazard, and that's some good damage away. Ho might well be able to do this here. If he takes care of the Mega Charizard, you know, that Rotom Wash is stuck every other time, then Ho can take full advantage of that. Doesn't need to go for an attack on the time that, you know, Rotom Wash will loaf around. Air Slash trying to get the flinches. It does get the flinch this time. Of course, he can't just go for the Protect this next time with Truant going off, so maybe not so much what Meme needed in that scenario. There it is again, the Protect. All important Protect. So we're on 10, number 26 as Air Slash comes out again. Is it going to get a flinch? No. Sacred Fire is going to take care of Mega Charizard. So now Ho all of a sudden with the 1v3, is it about to do it? Protect comes out. It surely got to, you know, that Rotom Wash can't hurt it. It can't hit it because it's just going to Truant this next turn. There it is. There's the Sacred Fire. It hits. It takes down 6% HP and the burn as well. It's going to proc the Iguana Berry, so that's going to keep it alive for a little bit longer. That burn is going to slowly chip it away, so either or eventually Niels is going to take this second game. So phenomenal stuff there from Niels. You know, that skill swap from the Truant proving all important on that Rotom Wash. Sacred Fire again. The burn's going to do it, and Niels going to tie us up at 1 apiece then. Taking a game off Meme as we go into a game number 3 then. Is Meme going to maybe choose to switch things up again here as Mienshao now comes out with Umbreon this time instead of the Rotom Wash. Now it's Indeedee and Slacking this time, so no skill swap this time as Indeedee gets its seed to proc its special defense next to that terrain. And Niels knows just how much of a difficult thing this this Umbreon is. The Brick Break comes out from the slacking. White Guard's going to block that. Doesn't mean there's the Toxic from the Umbreon, so already getting to work with those Toxic Poisons on the slacking. And Mienshao can potentially go for a CC here on slacking, and slacking's going to loaf around this next turn. You know, one CC should do some very, very big damage away at slacking. As Rotom switches in for the Umbreon, there's Follow Me comes out, there's the close combat. Does some very good damage away in DJ's Blow, so very, very smart Follow Me there to stop the slacking from taking that. Good stuff there from Niels, and the Mienshao's defense, special defense, obviously dropping from that. Potentially going to see Rotom Wash going for the screens this time because slacking is running the Brick Break, so got to be careful with that. There's the knockoff, so it's going to knock off the Muscle Band. Body Slam into that Rotom Wash, gets some very good damage away, and there's the Expanding Force. That's going to take a Rotom Wash and takes the Mienshao right down with Sash. And slacking slowly but surely losing health as now in comes the Umbreon. So Sash on that Mienshao really saving there. That Expanding Force really hitting both mons hard there. An advantage to Niels now in a 4v3. So slacking obviously not going to move this time. One more Dazzling Gleam is going to take care of Mienshao. Follow Me comes out though, but Mienshao is going to take care of the Indeedee though, dropping its defenses a little bit more. And Truant obviously progging. There is the Moonlight on the Umbreon, gets itself back up to full HP, and slacking slowly but surely going down. Going to go down this next turn. The Toxic Poison is now in comes the Greninja. So can he get it? Can he get the Water Shuriken off on the Mienshao? But the terrain is up and that is going to block it. Does Niels know that? Is it going to stop its advances here? Obviously only 1 or 2 turns of terrain, and he does. He goes for it. Terrain's up close combat is going to take care of the Greninja. So Mienshao just getting all the kills here. Brick Break into that Umbreon not going to be enough, and slacking going to go down that Snarl, and all of a sudden it is a 1v3. What is in the back? Is it the Ho-Oh again, or is it the Alakazam? Or maybe it's the Illumies. I would hope it's not the Illumies. It is the Ho-Oh then. So we saw Ho-Oh do 1v3 already. Is it got another one? Has it got another one in its locker? There's the knockoff on Ho-Oh. Does knock off the Specs. There's the Will-O-Wisp. Toxic comes out into that Ho-Oh. Sorry, not the Specs, it knocked off its leftovers. I misread that as now in comes the Groudon. Groudon with one Rock Slide here could be enough to take care of that Ho-Oh, but eventually it is going to go down. That Toxic Poison, as we mentioned, is Meme about to take this one. There's the Rock Slide, it hits, and Ho-Oh is gone, and Meme takes this one 2-1, gets himself back to winning ways. What a game that was, by the way. That game 2 was phenomenal. I didn't think it possible that Ho-Oh was going to do that, and then it did. That burn proving very, very important on that Groudon. You know, made all the difference in the end there. And you know, Zard and Rotom Wash were just completely stuck against that. You know, against that Ho-Oh. So GG's to both guys, and really good stuff from Niels. You know, he might have lost that one, but he played that pretty smartly. You know, game 1 maybe didn't go according to plan, but I think Meme just played that one so well, knew exactly what he was going to do, and Rotom Wash and Umbreon just dealt with that perfectly. So, as I said, gets himself back to winning ways. On to our final game then of the week, of week 6. It is, oh sorry, apologies, it is Nicer Sidonia taking on the Long Island Goomies then. So these two did play each other last season, both in the West Division. Silly taking the first affair, and then Jabba beating out Silly in the final week of the season. Of course, both teams were out of playoffs at that point, so it was pretty much a free-for-all. We saw some very, very interesting stuff from Silly with the Dynamax, Fletchling, and Facade, which is very amusing to see. So, could we see more craziness out of both sides of this game? I very much doubt it with Silly's lineup, but you never know. So, Jabba probably making one of, you know, if not out of two, the most changes out of anyone here, you know, as changes Mega. You actually see his Mega is over on Silly's side now. Mega Lucario going one way and him picking up the Mega Camerupt. Has also picked up the Jirachi from California Bastiodons. And as picked up the Torracat from South Croydon Saurs. Meanwhile, from free agency, he's picked up the Xurkitree, Azumarill, and the Maractus then, as well as Mudstale. So, Maractus against some of these weather teams is going to be very, very important. And if he's got any kind of beat-up user as well, or or anything with swagger, that Mudstale could be really, really huge. Of course, Torracat getting into him like its evolved brother does, as well as Fake Out, making it very, very, just a useful tool just to play annoyance, just, force someone, into a protect that turn one, making all the difference. Of course, Jirachi as well with Follow Me can allow that Lugia to get those Calm Minds set up, or, whatever he's got to set up Trick Room here, to get Trick Room. I don't think he's actually got a Trick Room user there to get Room up. Maybe Jirachi gets it. So, has got options there. He's made some very solid changes here. We'll see in this game whether they'll come to fruition. Has dropped that T-Tar as well, which, T-Tar has always been pretty synonymous with Jabba, so quite surprised at that one, but also couldn't understand it as well. Didn't really fit in with the rest of his team, especially not that Lugia, which so relies on that multi-scale ability. Lugia has very much been the centric to this team. Over on Silly's side then, only the 2 changes. Has swapped out his Mega and got Mega Lucario, and has picked up Stone Giant then in place of the Carbink. Stone Giant, of course, with that Power Swap ability next to something like that Xerneas is very, very, very scary. I'm not going to lie, makes me very terrified. You've got to think that the Blastoise comes with that Zen to get that, let that Zen get the Geomancy up. Follow Me, going to do all the work it needs to do to let Zen do its thing. Outside that, of course, has his little sleepy bear Kamala. This thing is just phenomenal. Silly always has a gimmicky mon like this, but, we call it gimmicky, but he always knows how to use it and get the most out of it. And as we saw last week against Dogsy, this thing puts in the work. And, we saw it earlier in the season as well in week 1. This thing took out Kyogre. It is absolutely phenomenal, so do not sleep on it. Get it? Sleep on it. I know. Silly, of course, actually also picking up the Hunchcrow as well. My mistake, he made a 3rd change, picking up Hunchcrow from the South Croydon Saurs. So 3 changes on Silly's side. Have only made him stronger, to be honest. That team is very, very strong. Has Tailwind with that Talonflame. Has got good support in that Breloom with the likes of Spore and things like that. And then as well as Blastoise, good support on Arcanine with those Intims as well can be really important. And Oricorio, of course, with his 3 different typings, can give him that versatility that he so needs. We saw against Draco, Swindon, Rookidees, how strong it can be. So, anyways, on to the final game of this week then. This one is a pre-recorded match, so I will try my best to keep up with it. It is very fast flowing, but let's get in this one. It is the Nice Side only taking on Goomies, and Nice Side lead the line with Torracat and Xurkitree. Silly leading the line with the Blastoise and the Hunchcrow. So Intim coming out straight away, and the balloon revealed on that Xurkitree Fake Out in that Blastoise. So Torracat is fast in that Blastoise. There is the Night Slash into Xurkitree. Xurkitree's balloon is now popped, but gets some good damage away in that Electro Web. Going to be some damage blocked from that Wackenberry, but gets some very big damage away in that Hunchcrow, and Silly's going to be careful that Xurkitree gets a Beast Boost. Parting Shot blocked by that, protects a good stuff there from Silly, but Electro Web is going to take out that Hunchcrow, and Xurkitree gets itself a Beast Boost then, as now Xerneas switches in, and this is where it can get scary for Jabba. Follow Me comes out, Parting Shot is going to allow Torracat to switch out, as now in comes Maractus, but the Geomancy is going to proc for that Xerneas. Electro Web in that Blastoise. It is a spread move, so it's going to do some damage with Xerneas, not enough, but Blastoise goes down, and all of a sudden it's a 2v4, and it's Kamala and Xerneas to best in the world, and Xurkitree with the boost with Dazzling Gleam is going to take care of both Maractus and Xurkitree, and all of a sudden it is a 2v2. That's how quick this Xerneas can turn things around. Torracat now can go for a Fake Out, and Xerneas you'd expect Silly to protect. Camerupt comes into play, that Mega Camerupt, as it gets its Mega Form Fake Out block by the Protect Last Resort. Not going to quite take out that Torracat, that Sleep Talk, allowing Kamala to do the work. Dazzling Gleam going to take out that Torracat. It is resisted by Camerupt, so it's not going to do enough. Is Last Resort going to do enough? No, Camerupt hangs on. Flash Cannon going to take care of the Xerneas. And now it is Kamala versus Mega Camerupt, and that Protect's not going to matter because Kamala's going to get the job done. And Kamala gets the killing blow as Silly takes a lead in this one and goes 1-0 up in the match. As we head on into game number 2 then. What a phenomenal game 1 that was, very, very fast paced. Xerneas doing the work, and now Jirachi comes in with Xurkitree, so Jabba going for his own Follow Me, as Arcanine now comes in to get the attack drops on Jabba's side. Fake Out comes out, that Xurkitree stops it from getting off as Calm Mind hits in from the Jirachi. Flare Blitz! Oh, Jirachi only just hanging on from that one. The Fake Out and that Xurkitree proving pretty important. So Protect comes out from the Blastoise. There's the Extreme Speed, that's going to take care of Jirachi, so good stuff there from Silly. Electro Web going to be stopped by that Protect, but getting some good damage away at that Arcanine. does reveal the Citrus Berry though, as now in comes the Lugia, and now Kamala switches in. Kamala, can it be the one to take care of Lugia? Electro Web's going to come out, get some good damage away to the Arcanine and Kamala, and drops both their speed. There's a Snarl to drop the special attack on Lugia and does break. It's multi-scale but does proc the weakness policy. There's Protect on the Xegatry. Extreme Speed going to be blocked by that Protect. And there is the Surf. Is it going to be enough? It does take care of the Arcanine, but Kamala manages to live that. Is Kamala going to hit the right button? No, it gets hit the protected Xegatry. And now Blastoise switches in. Protect comes out now from the Lugia to block that Fake Out. So that's smart stuff there from Jabba. There's the Electro Web. Wackenberry's going to allow Blastoise to live, but Kamala somehow hangs on there as well. Kamala with a Sleep Talk. That's going to take care of Xegatry. And it is now a 3v2 as now Mega Camerupt switches in. There's the Protect from Mega Camerupt. Thunderbolt comes out from the Lugia, but not enough to the Blastoise Scald block for that Camerupt Protect. There's the last resort into Lugia. Lugia manages to hang up with such big damage away from the Kamala as Blastoise goes to the Protect. That's going to stop that Thunderbolt from hitting. There's a Sleep Talk, and the Sleep Talk last resort can take care of Lugia. So Kamala takes another legendary for its kill total, and Camerupt is going to eventually take care of it. Geomancy now comes out from the Xerneas. Is it going to be the right decision? The Scald though is going to take care of Camerupt, of course. Is 4 times weak to fire, to water, sorry, and that is that one. And Silly takes the game. I said Kamala, man, is people sleep on it. I know I've said that pun already, but people sleep on it, and then it goes and does that. Who cares about the Xerneas, right? The Xerneas might have like 29 kills in the league, but who cares what the Xerneas? This Kamala is legend killer. Let me tell you, absolutely phenomenal stuff there. Silly picks another win up to add to his tally, and now Silly looking in a very strong position as we head into the business end of the season. Then that's I said people just hard prep for that Zen, and he just takes advantage of that and just wrecks the Kamala instead. Anyway, guys, let's take a quick look at the league table then after that one. And as you can see, perched at the top of the British Mountain League with a 2-game gap now is the Inglorious Surfers on a +10 record. The only blemish to that 2-1 over Jabba. So in on 6-0 now, closely followed behind by 4 teams on 4-2, all separated by two games. Crizzle on 4-2 +4, Silly in 5th place on 4-2 +2. It is so close between 2nd and 5th, all vying for those better seeding positions in playoffs and trying to make sure that they manage to stay safe from relegation. Meanwhile, in 6th, 7th and 8th place then, Newcastle Thundurus jump up again, now up to 6th place, as well as the Ninjas jump ahead of Dogsy Shadow Kings. So Shadow Kings with yet another loss drops them down to 8th place and really puts Dogsy in danger of relegation then. Very squeaky bum time there in 8th place, but the Ninjas and Thundurus both getting the 2nd win in a row, and that all important, evening out their record as well. Up in 9th place then, so Neil's losing out this week and now on 2 and 4, but still within touching distance of that playoff positions with 4 weeks left to go. So still autoplay for Neil's, but meanwhile there in 10th, 11th and 12th, Swindon Rookidees, Knights of Sidonia and the Cali Bastiodons, Draco and Oma both losing those relegation 6-pointers again, and that puts them on the 1-5 record, and now they have it all to do in the second half of the season. Both teams, as well as Jabba's Knights of Sidonia, need to win every game from this point to give themselves the best chance of making playoffs, and hoping the teams above them slip up. They have at least played a few of the teams that are directly above them, so now it's going to be up to them to try and beat those teams higher placed to try and get the job done. But let's take a look at next week's schedule then and see exactly where we're at then. Speaking of Jabba, one hell of a job on his hands, has got to take care of the Tyrants, who are absolutely flying up there in 3rd place. Meanwhile, the next game, Dave's Newcastle Thundurus against South Croydon Saurs. Last time these two played, Dave did take that one and spoiled a bit of Crizzle's playoff celebration party, making playoffs. Dave on an absolute resurgence right now, so Crizzle's got to really watch out for that after that loss to Aaron's Inglorious Surfers, but Crizzle with a very strong team there, so it's going to be a good one, that one. And then Draco, he just loves relegation 6-pointers. Draco with another relegation 6-pointer coming against Neil's Scuba Squirtles. That one is an absolute must-win for both teams to keep themselves in touching distance with that top 8, so going to be an important one, that one. That's going to be an exciting game next week. Then we've got the Long Island Goomies against Space City PC, so a top 5 match between these two. going to be exciting to see if anyone can stop the Xerneas. Of course, only 2 teams have managed it thus far, and Meme could maybe join those ones. Or is Silly's Kamala and Xerneas going to be too much for that fire duo, the sun duo of the Mega Charizard and Groudon, and of course that Umbreon and Rotom Wash. Then it is top of the table, Inglorious Surfers up against the also resurgent Wobbuffet Ninjas. So the Ninjas also on a 2-game win streak, but Aaron, unable to be stopped thus far, is 6-0. Could this be the week where Aaron, loses out? We keep saying this every week, and Aaron keeps proving us wrong and keeps winning. Is just making a march towards playoffs and that regular season winners title. So, could we see this from Aaron? It's going to be an exciting one to see these two go up against each other once again. And then our final game of the week, it is Cali Bastiodons against Shadow King. So this has kind of turned into a bit of a relegation 6-pointer itself, to be honest, after Dogsy losing out to Silver's Tyrant Tyrants. Bastiodons with a must-win for this one, and Dogsy just perching very scarily above that drop zone on the 3-3 record. So gotta get a win in this one as Dogsy can get back to winning ways, and of course Oma needs to pick up that win as well. But guys, that is going to do it for this week of the British Pokemon League show. We of course will be back next Monday at the same time, the same place, with our Week 7 show, and as you've just seen, we have got some very, very exciting matches coming. That's going to be it now. It's going to be crazy matches from here on out towards playoffs. December the 12th is when we finish up for our winter break and then hit playoffs. And it's all to play for still. No one's quite out of it yet. So keep sticking with us. I mean, of course, your host, Matt Starr. I will see you all next week. Goodbye and good night. Mwah!